Hi, I'm Smriti Shivakumar, a scientist on the Cancer Genomics research team at Foundation Medicine. I'm joined today by Dr. Brandon Mahal, Assistant Professor of Radiation Oncology and Assistant Director of Community Outreach and Engagement at University of Miami Miller School of Medicine, Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. Hi, Brandon.
Hi, Smriti. Thanks for the introduction. As Smriti mentioned, I'm Dr. Brandon Mahal from the University of Miami Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, where I'm a physician scientist and Assistant Director of Community Outreach and Engagement, where I focus my research efforts on addressing cancer disparities.
At this year's American Society of Clinical Oncology annual meeting, we present our work exploring the differences in the genomic landscape, utilization of comprehensive genomic profiling testing, and treatment patterns in advanced prostate cancer from the lens of genomic ancestry. Brandon, from your perspective and experience in the clinic, what is the importance of a study like this?
Thanks for the question. Prostate cancer incidence and mortality and outcomes vary widely across race and ethnicity. This has been demonstrated for decades, and we're well aware of the disparities that we see in prostate cancer. The underlying drivers of these differences are multifactorial, including systemic barriers that lead to wide variation in access to care, including genomic and precision medicine. Men of African ancestry are particularly underrepresented in genomic and precision medicine studies. Therefore, we sought to carry out this research, and it's important so that we can understand and assess the patterns of gene alterations, clinical genomic precision utilization, and the treatment after comprehensive genomic profiling in large and diverse prostate cancer cohorts.
Thanks, Brandon. With a shared passion for this research, we put together a cross-functional team from Foundation Medicine and Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center to chalk out a plan to address these key questions around ancestry-based disparities in prostate cancer. For this study, we utilized a large research dataset comprising nearly 12,000 prostate cancer patients who underwent comprehensive genomic profiling as part of routine clinical care. A subset of nearly 900 patients had real-world clinical and outcome data extracted by Flatiron Health as part of the clinical genomic database. We used a computational approach to predict a patient's genomic ancestry. With 12% of the patients predicted to have an African ancestry, this large and diverse population provided us with a unique opportunity to look into several factors that may contribute to disparities in cancer care. We identified a lower median age in patients of African ancestry, as well as imbalances in certain genomic alterations. In contrast, genes in the DNA damage response pathway and actionable genes with therapy implications were identified at a similar frequency across ancestry groups. Brandon, given your prior research, what do you think these results indicate?
To our knowledge, this study encompasses the largest cohort, particularly of African ancestry men, in a genomic study that defines the comprehensive genomic profiling utilization, genomic landscape, and therapeutic implications of that comprehensive genomic profiling in prostate cancer. Overall, the patterns that you described are demonstrating largely similar rates of actionable gene alterations across ancestry, and this suggests that intrinsic biological differences are unlikely to be a major driver of ancestry-based disparities and outcomes among men with advanced prostate cancer. However, if there are differences across ancestry in the utilization of comprehensive genomic profiling earlier or later in treatment course, and differences in treatments received, such as clinical trials or targeted therapies after comprehensive genomic profiling, those types of differences could ultimately lead to underlying genomic differences across ancestry that aren't due to intrinsic biological differences, but due to differences in the way we practice medicine, in particular in the way that we practice genomic and precision oncology.
Using the clinical genomic database, we identified that patients with an African ancestry were less likely to receive Foundation Medicine testing earlier in their treatment course. While the proportion of patients receiving immunotherapy and PARP inhibitors in their documented course of treatment was similar across ancestry groups, patients of African ancestry were less likely to be treated on clinical trials. Brandon, what do you think the future implications of this work might be?
Thank you so much, Smriti, for presenting that very important line of data. To summarize, you mentioned that men of African ancestry were less likely to receive comprehensive genomic profiling earlier in their treatment course and overall less likely to be treated on clinical trials. As I mentioned before, these important points could impact the overall genomic landscape, outcomes, and ultimately disparities. Going forward, these data suggest that we need to ensure equitable use of comprehensive genomic profiling and precision medicine in order to ensure that we are able to address prostate cancer disparities in a meaningful way.
Through ongoing collaborations such as these and continued efforts in health equity, we strive to identify and better understand the current roadblocks and barriers at different stages of a patient's journey in order to mitigate an increase in disparities. Progress requires commitment and education to ensure that all patients have equal access to advanced, high-quality cancer care and access to genomic testing to better inform personalized, targeted treatment decisions.
Thanks again, Smriti. In my experience doing this type of research, and again as Assistant Director of Community Outreach and Engagement at the University of Miami, I think these types of engagements and collaborations are imperative to address cancer disparities.